Hey peeps, are we doing well? Well, I've got a bit more time. Yeah, so I've got the time up on the. For me, it's on the top left of the screen. So I've been speaking a bit about safety and this kind of a thing recently, and mgtow left a comment saying about avoiding the algorithms and getting stung for talking about things that we're not allowed to talk about here on this this platform that was once said something about the lines of broadcast yourself, like speak your mind. Yeah, unless it goes against a narrative, in which case shut your damn mouth and sit down. You have wrong think. I'd like to think that most of my views have this form of wrong think, right? So on the sort of last video, I was talking a bit about, the motoring video, to be precise, the motoring video. I was talking about the stuff that, air quotes, legislation that government brings in and pass through as laws, which are then enforced onto the public. So I've got a couple of things that I'm going to use as examples on this one. And they're all very real, right? So, I suppose you can refer to me as a biker or a motorcyclist, whichever takes your fancy. So, this is what we're going to call a 3/4 face, open face lid. And differences between the dot approved and the non-dot approved. If you're interested, this is the Built Well Bonanza, and it's certified. You've got a little certification on the back there. I'm sure you can buy them stickers off eBay if you really want. Sorry, but this is genuine legit, and it meets the UK spec of what type of construction and padding. A lot of it comes down to the actual padding that it's got. I've got another lid very similar to this, and it has thinner padding and therefore does not meet the standard, supposedly. The argument that would normally come about is like, oh well, if you come off, you're going to smash your face in because all of this is exposed, and I'm living in a world where don't go into it, man, just don't go into it. But yeah, it comes down to freedom of choice, right? If you're on a type of bike, a bobber, chopper or a cruiser, you might want to wear one of these, so you've got the wind in your face and your beard and that's flapping about and all that sort of wonderful times, and you've got your sunglasses on and everything's hunky-dory. Probably not so good in the wet, especially if you leave it as an open face. The rain hurts as it hits your face if you're going fast enough. Now, I say fast enough, sometimes people think, oh, you've got to be doing 100 miles an hour. It's like, no, trust me, 35 to 40 is usually enough. That the little spits of rain really does hurt. But moving on. I can't remember how much I paid for that. I think it was about 100 and something quid, I think, for that one. Or might have just been under 100 quid. Then we got this one. Showy. Obviously that's a full face lid. Protection all the way around. I'm not doing reviews, I'm just doing these as an example, but obviously it gives you more facial protection if you're going to hit the deck. You know, you're not going to wipe your beard out, I mean your jaw, and all of that, so it does offer better protection, right? Unlike some things which have been coming about recently that I'm not allowed to talk about because it's not allowed. You can have freedom of speech as long as it complies with our version of freedom of speech. Again, all these things are starting to sound ever so familiar, especially on different platforms where they insist on using fact checks and all this sort of thing, which, look, I get it. To a degree, it is useful. It is useful until it becomes a thing where fact checking isn't exactly fact checking. It's more just taking stuff down. You know, we've seen it before in political narratives where you couldn't talk about one president and the other, and yeah, envelopes crossing hands. Do we think a bit of side money or something like that? You know, maybe a couple of visits to Epstein Island. Was that in with the deal? Just sort of putting that out there. Quite possible. But yeah, why talk about all this protection thing? Well, one thing I see a lot of being a content creator and I suppose an avid YouTube user, more so than other platforms, and I'm really starting to consider if I am to continue my pastime hobby of chatting about the stuff that I talk about, whether I'm actually going to have to move over to a different platform such as BitChute or something on them lines. Now, one of the things that's always really irritated me is when everyone's allowed an opinion, right? I'm all for that. It's when they start giving opinions on things and they're using their status as some sort of clout, like it makes their word greater or superior than others. Now, I'm not a football fan. In fact, if I'm totally honest, I really don't like football. I'm talking about soccer, by the way, for those of you across the pond. I'm talking about soccer. I've got no time for it. The players, grossly overpaid. The managers, well, recently, this is something that, again, Sky News, I've got my gripes with Sky News because they don't always tell you everything. Plus, we've had the media, mainstream media, which have been scaremongering people in the UK into thinking that there's some sort of petrol crisis when there isn't. There's an HGV driver shortage, and you really have to question as to how much of this was actually planned. We've had 18 months of air quotes pandemic. That was not a Freudian slip. And closely followed by the non-delivery of fuel due to apparently a lack of drivers. Lots of things have been blamed on that. Brexit was one of them, which I think is all just tosh in my personal opinion. That's just something that they can, it's just another political move. It's all ever has been, in my opinion. So, oh yeah, that goes wrong, we'll blame Brexit. That goes wrong, we'll blame Brexit. This is happening over here, well that's probably men's fault because fuck you reasons, you know. It just seems to be that, and the worst part is the amount of sheeple that actually go with it. It depresses me. It depresses me that everyone still looks to the mainstream media, the same one that lies to them. They've covered up noncery with Jimmy Savile, noncery with all the rest of them, the likes of Rolf Harris and all of this. They hide it, they cover it. They knew it. You're telling me they knew it wasn't going on? Of course they knew it was going on. But they did nothing, and they're still operating. Nowadays, they actually have the nerve to make it a criminal offence to not pay for a fucking TV licence. And it's sort of like, okay, well, when are you bringing out nonce licences? If that's the sort of thing you want to go by, I'm just sort of saying. I'm not saying that they should do that. They should just shut the fucking mouths and retreat with their tail between their legs is what they should be doing. But unfortunately, there are far too many idiots out there who still listen and cling on to the words for dear life of the mainstream media. And look, I know I pick on BBC quite a lot, but Sky News is just as bad, the Telegraph is just as bad, the Daily Mail is just as bad. They're all as bad as each other. And of course, when we had the air quotes dissenting voices on alternative media such as YouTube, well, they got silenced. I did quite a few videos last year giving my thoughts and opinions on everything, looking up statistics and facts for myself, which did kind of make me think, well, this isn't as big of a thing as what they're saying it is, so why are they making a thing of it? But in the meanwhile, everyone was too busy shitting themselves without having any toilet roll to do anything about it. So I guess that was about as successful as shitting in your hand and then clapping, right? Anyway, on to this. Liverpool manager. Well, for starters, I ain't got much faith in him. Because football manager, for starters, might be good at his job. Maybe he should stick to doing his job. Right? Jurgen Klopp has said refusing to take the CV. You know what? I don't even know how far I can go with this before it. The old censorship is like, oh, you can't say that. You can't possibly. How dare you have a fucking opinion? Unless it goes with the narrative, right? So refusing to have that the V is similar to drink driving, as it endangers other people. And it says read more on Sky News. It's sort of like, how about fucking no? How about it's not the same as fucking drink driving? You fucktard. How about you stick to controlling which one of these guys is kicking that pig's bladder across the bloody field, and then we'll all worry about ourselves. How about that one? And one of the things I do love actually about YouTube in general is the comment section, when people just let rip. This comment, by David Sanderson: seeing as a former Royal Marine General has just been given a senior NHS role, we might as well take Football Manager's advice on medical matters. Why not? Well, fucking why not? Let's pick a topic that I know absolutely fuck all about, and you'll all have to start listening to me, because fuck you, reasons, Jürgen is presenting a TED Talk on YouTube about his philosophical musings and the way of coercion. Now that is close to the truth. Celebrities are like the weirdos in the Capitol in Hunger Games. That's damn true, actually. If Jürgen said it, it must be the supreme truth. Now, I do wonder, actually, just for the sake of curiosity, how many Liverpool fans are now... Because you've got to remember that this is a big thing. For those that are actually into football, it's something that they do take seriously. They put their heart and soul into it. They spend who knows how many hundreds of pounds a year on buying the latest kit, the home kit, the away kit, the season tickets, and all the sort of like memorabilia and this sort of a thing. But I think when you start doing stuff like that, are you not crossing a line? With especially if you got to remember, the fans aren't going to abandon their team because it's Liverpool, and it doesn't really matter who plays for them, to the best of my knowledge anyway. I know there was a bit of uproar a little while ago regarding England and not scoring a goal, and people saying stuff on the internet, and people's feelings got hurt, and it just turned into a massive shit show, in my opinion. It's like, so someone on the internet, well, there's your first fucking problem. Someone on the internet said, and I get it, you could say that about a lot of the stuff what the sort of manosphere talk about in terms of relationships with women, what to look out for, but look, we get silenced just the same, because we do tell the truth, we do tell it how it is, we do talk about situations that do happen, but it goes it goes against that thing of girls being sugar spice and all things nice, when realistically some of us have really had to endure the brunt of dealing with the cunt, right? But they don't like it when you talk about things like that, because it goes against the narrative, and it's like, oh, you're saying hurtful things, and it's like, mate, saying hurtful things and actually restricting people's freedom of choice, that is crossing a goddamn boundary. And for any football manager or any celebrity, do you remember the celebrities? They all piped up at the beginning of the lockdown pandemic, and they were piping up about how hard they had it in their mansions. It's like, are you kidding me? There's people in London living in apartment blocks that couldn't leave because reasons. And here they are. That's the difference between us and them, and it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. On a sort of a side note, and veering off of all of this, this is the reason why I started talking about safety initially. It's like the freedom of choice. Do you want to wear a 3/4 face lid, or do you want to wear a full face lid? Or how about have one of each? How about that? In America, in some states, I think you can not bother wearing a lid at all. I mean, I'll be honest with that one. I would struggle with that. I wouldn't be comfortable riding without a lid, because it's been indoctrinated into me that as soon as you get on that damn thing, you're wearing a lid. It's law, and it's finable. You can get in trouble for it, right? That is what legislation does. Now, backtracking back to where the video was actually starting out, they say these things are here to protect us, and I get it. All right, 3/4 lid, you could lose part of your face, your jaw, and all of that if you were to come off and impact that. Full face obviously does offer more protection, but the full face, you can also break your neck if you come off. You could probably do it with either, to be fair. If you hit the chin of the full face, you can actually snap your neck. They don't tell you that though. You know, it's dependent on how the accident happens. But here we are, you know, it's like, what one particular choice was taken away from us altogether, which I can kind of understand why, you know, why we have to wear skid lids over here in the UK and Europe. And well, Europe, it wasn't so much a thing up until maybe 5 or 10 years ago. You never used to have to bother wearing a lid when you was out there. But now that, you know, they've sort of made it law. Well, on every item that you buy, you're paying tax. So I suppose you're paying for the goods, the crash hats, the lids, the brain buckets, whatever you want to call them. You're paying tax on that. So, and alright, you could argue, well, it could save your life. Right, it could do. What if you weren't wearing a lid and you fall off and then a truck drives over your chest and crushes all your internal organs? The lid ain't going to do much good then, is it? I'm just saying. So, anyway, that's all I got for this one. Hope you've enjoyed. Until the next one, stay cool, stay free, peace out.